Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Noah Blocker-Glynn, Associate Dean here at the Hartt School, and we are very excited to welcome you to the University of Hartford and the Hartt School. We've got a presentation in store for you today, a few talking points by our Dean, Dr. Larry Allen Smith. We also have an admission representative here from the University of Hartford, Nate Burridge, who's going to be assisting us with questions as well and in responding to your needs here during this presentation. I'm just going to switch over to slides and to stop my screen share here shortly so that we can be in touch with the Dean. Today's agenda is really going to focus on a few points. One, we'll have a Dean's welcome. We're going to talk a bit about the application process, a little history of the school. We've got a wonderful video for you to watch. You are the second audience to see this. It was just released yesterday, and we're really excited about it. I think it's truly telling about what the Hartt School is all about, and certainly the spirit that's is so keenly embodied in our school. Without further ado, it's my pleasure to welcome Dean Larry Allen Smith.
Thank you so much, Noah, and welcome to all of you. This is going to be really interesting and fun, I hope, for you. It will be for us because we have a chance to talk about something that we love so dearly. I want to just give you a little bit of an introduction to the school. The Hartt School is now a little over 100 years old. We actually opened in 1920, so we're just moving into our next 100 years. And one thing we have done in recent months is we've rededicated ourselves to the original purpose of the school. When the school opened, it was a community music school. It was a group of associated teachers who wanted to form this institution. And the school has grown so much over the years and been so successful, had so many incredible graduates, that we now speak in terms of a one school model, because our school is everything from the education of small children to undergraduates, to graduates, to adult learners. We are a comprehensive school of the performing arts, and we are so proud of what the school has been and what it can be as we move forward. As I mentioned, this is the 100th anniversary. We actually call it Hartt 100. Back in January, the plan was to have an 18-month celebration of Hartt 100. And we made it till about March before the pandemic hit and caused us to kind of cut back our plans a little bit. I don't think they're cut back at all. I think they're just slightly delayed, and we're going to celebrate this anniversary in a big way. Before the pandemic came, though, one of the first things we did was we had the release of a new book about the school, which is called 100 Years of Hartt, a Centennial Celebration of the Hartt School. It was written by one of our faculty members. And it's a wonderful summary of this incredible school. Another thing that we've recently been focused on, you can't have an educational institution that is isolated from the world in which it exists. And we know that this has been a difficult time in terms of our society, for those of you who are in the United States. And back in the middle of the summer, the Hartt School created what we call is the Hartt Commitment. And I hope that you might look for it online on our website. It is the Hartt Commitment to fight racial injustice. We have to be active members of our community, and our community could be the greater Hartford community, the state of Connecticut, New England, United States. And in fact, at Hartt, we have such an international population that we are truly a global school. And finally, I'd like to just say that we're pretty proud about our innovations that have occurred over the years and have continued to occur. Let me give you some big big changes that happened over the years. When I first came to the school as dean in 1990, we were the Hartt School of Music. Okay, people still make the mistake and call it that, but we're not the Hartt School of Music now. We're the Hartt School because in 1994 we added the dance area. In 1996 we added theater, and just to show you that we're not sitting still, next fall, and some of you may be interested in this, and that may be why you're watching, attending this event, we will have new majors in stage management and technical theater. So the school is very much about performance and about teaching performers and studying performance, teachers, scholars, performers, music, dance, and theater. And now we have next year the people who are going to help make that all happen in terms of production people. So just with a little introduction there, I hope you can see that many, many things go into what the Hartt School is all about. And it's not something that set itself 100 years ago and never changed, but it's something that's changing continually. And I look forward to talking to you about other aspects of the school. Noah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Dean Smith. I'm going to switch back over here to share screen and get us back on our presentation slides. Once again, welcome to all of you to the Hartt School and the University of Hartford. I understand you've had a busy afternoon with many sessions. I'm sure lots of questions asked and hope lots of good information received. We're going to be taking questions towards the end of the presentation today. So if you have questions, please drop them in that Q&A chat box that's there. Anything that Nate can respond to, quickly, he'll do so sort of in written form there. But Dean Smith and I and Nate will also take the time to answer questions live once we get a little further along in the presentation. But so that you don't forget your question, be sure to drop it in that Q&A chat box, and we'll get right to them. I think Larry was being a bit modest. He's really created some pretty incredible change here at the Hartt School during his tenure. And as an alum of the school myself, I consider him a teacher, a mentor, and of course a colleague. And there's so many amazing things about the Hartt School. And to put it frankly, I think that we might have some of the best jobs on the planet because we get to advocate and facilitate every day the incredible education that happens at the Hartt School. So without further ado, let's get to work here on this presentation. Rise confidently and emerge ready. That's the idea about the Hartt School. We want you to come to us as incredible artists and see a growth and development that happens over your 4-year or 5-year undergraduate time here, to the point that you emerge from the Hartt School career ready and ready to take on the artistic and educational challenges that the world has to offer. As Larry talked about earlier, the school's been around for over 100 years. It started in 1920, as he mentioned before. The two gents that you see in this picture are Julius Hartt, for which the school is named, and Moshe Perinoff. His previous name was actually Perlmutter, but I think perhaps the stage name needed to have a little more flair. So we're going for Moshe Perinoff here. Hartt's internationally acclaimed performing arts conservatory. We have programs in music, dance, and theater, and a whole range of degrees within those disciplines, from BFAs to BAs to Bachelors of Music degrees to our graduate studies programs. Now, the presentation today, of course, is primarily positioned towards undergraduate information, but we have a significant graduate population, and that's something that also makes our school distinct. It allows our undergraduate and graduate students to collaborate every day to make wonderful art together. Some examples of this is in an ensemble, you may be an oboe player as an undergraduate sitting next to a master's or a doctoral level oboe player as well. You may see a conducting major, a DMA, or a graduate diploma a student on the podium conducting those ensembles. You're going to interact with all sorts of folks at the Hartt School, all walks of life, and that telescoped education that happens, that continuum that happens, is something that truly makes the Hartt School special. As you see here at the bottom of this particular slide, the Hartt School was one of the 3 founding schools with the University of Hartford. So we've been here from the get-go, from the inception. It was the Hartford Art School, which is one of the oldest art schools in the country, the Hartt School, then of music, now of music, dance, and theater, thanks to Dean Larry Allen Smith, and of course Hillier College, which has a bit of a different approach now. But those 3 schools made up the University of Hartford back in 1957 when things kicked off. Everything that we do every day, like any good school or organization, we focus on our mission and our vision and our values. And as Larry was saying earlier, that innovation that happens every day is always done with an eye towards pursuing our mission and providing the best possible performing arts education that's characterized by rigor, incredible individual attention, this idea of peer support and cohorts, the networks that you're going to make while you're here, all of that goes into this incredible history of our school and what really characterizes us as one of the top performing arts schools in the country, if not the world. As you can see here, ranked as one of those, right? I was just referring to that between Musical America and Tune Magazine, the US College Ranking System, and we're accredited by the 3 major accrediting bodies for our country, which is the National Association of Schools of Music, Dance, and Theater. We're regularly undergoing self-studies and evaluating our programs and our offerings to ensure that we're providing the most innovative and forward-looking education to our students of all levels. This is just a little bit of an overview. I say a little bit, there's a huge number of majors on this list, but what we offer within our undergraduate studies area. As I said earlier, a Bachelor of Music, Bachelor of Arts, a Bachelor of Fine Arts, and of course, Bachelor of Science here. 2 really incredible new programs that we're just putting on the books for this upcoming year is Stage Management and Technical Theater, which Dean Smith referred to earlier. Super exciting. Now, one thing that you're going to get here at the Hartt School that you might not get at other institutions is a professional team of technicians and practitioners within costuming, lighting design, really first-class, top-rate production staff, and access to those individuals in terms of them just sort of running the show backstage is one thing, but to be able to learn from them is another. And we recognize that there's something to be said there. There's something for the school to begin to develop in terms of its education and the offerings in those areas. So we're really excited about that. We have many popular programs at the school. These are just, again, an overview of them. The Hartt School is known for many things. We have an incredible opera program, music education. Our jazz program, the Jackie McLean Institute, is a longstanding jazz program. One program of particular interest that I'd like to call out because I think it speaks in a really wonderful way to the interdisciplinary and collaborative nature of being part of a university system where there are 7 schools and colleges, is our Bachelor of Science here in Acoustical Engineering and Music. Now, Dr. Bob, if we have any of our acoustical engineering prospects here, you're going to want to be in touch with Dr. Bob from CETA, which is the College of Engineering, Technology, and Architecture. He's going to tell you everything you need to know to be able to go into those cool chambers and listen and check stuff out. It's going to be pretty important to get a look at that. But the great thing about that collaboration is that it is truly 2 colleges on campus coming together for a singular major, for a common purpose. And access to those schools and colleges, access to those majors and minors and the students from across campus is really what makes the University of Hartford special. So our Hartt students are interacting with folks from all across the campus. Another thing I'd like to mention here briefly is access to double majors and minors. Dean Smith is a huge proponent, as is many of our faculty, to this idea of expansive, you drive the boat, you determine where you want to go and what you want to get from your education. The double major opportunities here, some of which are 5 years. We have some We have some folks that are able to get it done in the 4-year time, and actually a good number of Hartt students do that because they are incredible, incredible students and do a really fine job of keeping up their grades and being proactive. Minors are another opportunity altogether. We offer a number of minors throughout the school within composition, music education, performing arts management, dance, as an example. There's many of them out there for you to take advantage of, and I definitely encourage you to do that. Staying within a singular major is not a problem either. Right? It just is all about what you want to get from your Hartt School and University of Hartford education. To be distinct, you have to be bold. That's something that we really subscribe to here at the Hartt School. You're going to be engaging with the professional world through master classes, guest artists, and individual and industry experts and professionals. And these folks are brought to the school by our incredible faculty. Professional partnerships, internships, all of that is facilitated by these folks who have spent years building and engaging with the industry, with the world, to make sure that our students have the leg up and the information that they need and the preparation that they need to be as successful as possible, ahead of graduation, but certainly after graduation, so that they are truly career ready. There's also opportunities to perform around the world alongside our faculty, even here in our own backyards. I'm sure that at some point a question will come up about performance this year in the time of this global pandemic and what that looks like, and an audience and whatnot. So we'll have a little bit of opportunity to talk a bit more about that. One thing that I do want to make sure to talk about is this idea of exceptional community. The Hartt School is an incredible place because the people who fill its hallways and its classrooms, who contribute something with every day that they're there, is what makes it special. It's an incredibly loving place full of supportive people who want you as a student to succeed, you as the colleague, you as the friend and the fellow classmate to succeed. And so these impactful cohorts is something that we really believe in at the Hartt School. This idea that when you step into a music education major, as an example, that those folks that you're in that major with, you're going to travel with them across the journey of 4 years, 5 years if it's a double major, as an example. And you're going to build some incredible relationships and networks that you're going to carry with you for the rest of your life. And those are not just professional networks, those are friend networks, those are performance and collaborative networks, truly a performing arts school that just is in constant connection with its majors and its students. Of course, once you graduate, there are exceptional futures out there. Here's just a couple of quick stats that I'd like to present to you. So 87% of our recent alumni are continuing their education or are employed. That's a significant number. Almost 9 out of 10 students. And of those students who are employed graduates cite that their employment is related to their major. So not every school, not every conservatory can boast those kinds of numbers. And truly, I want to take just a step back to say that that really has nothing to do with the Hartt School, the building itself. It has everything to do with the faculty, our best asset, and the comprehensive education and the level of preparedness that our students have at the time of graduation. That's what contributes to those numbers, and the hard work of those students and the incredible support of their family and their peers. Over here on the right side of the slide, you can see Jamal. He landed a really incredible role right out of school. He's in the Chicago cast of Hamilton. Everything that he experienced at Hartt prepared him for that experience, for him to walk onto that audition, hit it out of the ballpark, and then handle anything that came his way. Now that's just an example of some pretty incredible folks who, pretty incredible graduate, of course, but also it is telling us to the gravitas and the immediate success of our graduates. So ready to be bold? Let's get started.
I would say if you want to come here to grow, to learn, to have a sense of family and community, the Hartt School is the place you want to be.
One of the great things about Hartt is that we are a school of performing arts. We have actors, we have dancers, we have musicians of all kinds. We have people who are working on the cutting edge of technologies related to performing arts, the recording of performing arts. They're in communication, they're crossing paths with each other all the time.
We're surrounded by fantastically bright people that are in this wide diversity of majors. And that's what I like about it so much, is that from that there is a whole lot of interaction, intermingling, not to mention theater and dance, which is of course here, but all of the things that happen as a result of that diversity, I think just make us a really special and unique place.
Being in a conservatory-style program within a larger university has allowed me to connect with other people from other majors. That just really has enriched my experience as a college student, to be able to see and get to know and really experience people who are going after a different major or, have a completely different view of the world than I do as an artist.
I want to know that I've helped the student along the path to being what I would consider to be a global citizen. And even in what we do in the arts, they understand that they're connected to a larger piece. They're connected to a larger story than their own. And so I want to know that I've done some small part in equipping them to go out and have an impact through their art, through their craft. So student success is that student being able to take ownership of their piece in that puzzle and go out and take charge and do whatever that craft is, but with the intention of changing someone else's life.
In the conservatory, you learn how to play, but through getting new perspectives about the world, you learn what you're playing about, what's it all about.
By the time we get them to juniors and seniors, we want them to really be questioning and thinking and coming up with ways that make sense for them about what they want to do in their classroom. And I think we do a really excellent job of that here at the Hartt School.
We have a lot of faculty that have performance experience and performance background, so we're able to offer firsthand experience on the process, but that process, we take it serious.
It's really powerful. It is powerful to have the opportunity to play with people that are your heroes. When I was a freshman, I came here and I was playing in Professor Reeves' ensemble, and so twice a week I was spending time playing with him. There's endless lessons to learn from all of my teachers.
I think one of the biggest things that has stood out to me in my training here, the emphasis on detail and technique, yet also the emphasis on artistry. And I think that balance is what kept me going and kept my passion for it all.
If you're really doing your job, you're unique. And you're celebrating that uniqueness and developing it. And you're developing it through technique, through the language of dance.
The way the training is structured makes you feel safe. It makes you feel seen and heard and instill a new energy into you, a new sense of what acting is, what this craft is.
We're always guiding students, we're always helping them to develop their craft, but the real success, I think, is when they become the author of their own training.
For a singer, what's really special about coming to Hartt is that the undergrads are front and center. First semester, right away, they get personal one-on-one attention and time with the division director, who also casts and conducts the opera.
If I can help the student realize what their opportunities and goals are, and if I can help them have an effective pathway to their career, that's student success.
I'm giving them the the guidance, but I really want them to ultimately find their best tools.
We're interested in the person, the artist. We can teach them the rest of the stuff they need to know, but we need to sense that excitement and that curiosity and that commitment. And then from there, the work is easy and very enjoyable.
So we're pretty proud of that new video. I hope you enjoy it. And if you have any feedback, we would definitely welcome it. In that vein, of course, we're not, this is not something that we do every day, right? We're not working with applicants in a pandemic situation. So if there's anything that we can do to make this experience for you and your family easier, more accessible, please let us know. And I think, as I said early on in the presentation, this is not the only forum to ask questions. And we have an incredible staff here. We have an incredible faculty here and leadership that are all about supporting your needs. So let's talk a little bit about the application process. So because of the pandemic, global pandemic situation that we're currently in, we're not going to be able to host any live auditions for the 2021 application cycle. In lieu of that, we are moving all of our auditions to video auditions, and we have completely overhauled our application process and provided a portfolio upload system for all of our applicants to be able to manage all of their materials in one spot. I want to talk a little bit about the application timeline for this year. As you can see here, there's some apply by dates. So November 15, an in-person experience on January 17th. Now, we were holding out hope until pretty recently, where we've made the decision that we can't do in-person things here. We can do some sort of high-level tours, and if you're interested in that, please definitely look it up and sign up for those tours through University of Hartford admission, or contact our office at the Hartt School admission office. As you can see, really our pre-screen deadline that you want to be aware of for music theater and actor training only is December 1st. Otherwise, all applications and materials, we have these sort of census dates that are here: November 15th, December 1, January 1, and February 1 is really what we're calling the end of our priority consideration point. So after that point, scholarship money has mostly been allocated. We do try to hold a little bit back just so we know we have a few folks that will come in after that February 1 time, but mostly our allocations have been made. Now, on the music front primarily, and in some cases within dance and theater, there are opportunities to receive additional scholarship money after acceptance. And so just keep that in mind. There's lots of communications that are going to come to you from the University of Hartford and also through Hartt admission. And it's really important to just kind of to pay close attention to those, because you don't want to miss an opportunity to come for a scholarship competition. As an example, if you are a dancer or another area of our school, we want to make sure that you have an opportunity to really leverage those resources and have what you need in order to make the best decision possible, which we all feel is to come to the Hartt School. Just a little overview about what it is in terms of completing an application. There are three sort of options there. One is a direct application through the University of Hartford application portal known as Slate. You can also go through the Common app and select the University of Hartford to zip off your application materials. And really for our music, theater, and actor training program, where it's primarily used, in some cases dance as well, is the Get Accepted profile portal. So all of those are options for your application to the University of Hartford. There is a subset of questions and requirements for the Hartt School. So as you begin to go through your application process, you'll receive some automated responses that will help guide you towards that next step of completing your application by uploading your required profile materials. Now, those materials are outlined here, and they do vary slightly by major. The best place to find those resources resources and to get a really clear sense as to what you need to prepare and what you need to upload, although it'll be outlined in the application itself as you're actually toggling through that application. If you want to be really prepared in advance, I would recommend going to the website, clicking on your major, selecting an instrument or a voice type, or dance as far as a major, or actor training, right, and music theater, and that's going to steer you towards some really specific audition requirements that you're going to want to explore and be prepared for in advance of uploading those materials. Now, because we're in the middle of a pandemic, and because who knows what the accessibility to these kinds of resources are for many families and prospective students, we are trying to make it as easy and accessible as possible. So as such, we've changed some of our audition requirements, particularly within our instrumental area. And so we've really streamlined those to try to keep things very open for our applicants. Now, we recognize that many of you are applying for admission at multiple schools, and every school has a very different admission requirement, an audition requirement. So we're trying to keep ours as open-ended as possible so that you're not having to take the extra step of learning some additional rep just to gain admission to our school. Our faculty are going to make an artistic evaluation on the materials that you submit, and we'll score you appropriately, and we'll talk a little bit about how that impacts scholarship in just a moment. If you have any concerns about the audition requirements, if you have any questions about those, I strongly encourage you to be in touch with us, either through our admission office or directly through the directory, there we go, and actually looking up your faculty member for that particular program. Faculty are exceptionally knowledgeable, and they're going to help guide you towards what audition requirements are really going to be requirements in terms of accessibility. So just please ask questions and be proactive on that front. Just a quick rundown here of some of the requirements: audition video, an essay, performance resume, repertoire list, letters of recommendation, and your academic records. There's also a headshot that's required for some select majors. But otherwise, the materials list will be set up there in your application portal. So you'll know exactly what it is that you need to submit before you click the final submit button on your University of Hartford and Hartt School application. Those auditions, as I mentioned before, because we can't have them in person, they're all going to be video auditions loaded through this portfolio. Now, the faculty are going to review those by panel and will make an evaluation, artistic evaluation on your audition video, your audition materials. In the words of Stephen Peer here, fully engage in that process, trust yourself, trust your training, and just put your best self out there. That's all we can ask for you to do. And our faculty recognize potential. They recognize where folks are at. They certainly recognize the impacts of this pandemic in the last year, essentially to not be having the same level of performance opportunities, right? We're all aware of this, and we're going to be as supportive and flexible as we can be. So really important, again, that you try to put your best self out there, your best foot forward in your audition. At the Hartt School, we give a scholarship to every student. There's some level of scholarship support for every student in the school. That's undergrad, that's master's. That's undergrad and graduate, excuse me. The University of Hartford, about 90% of the students receive financial aid, and that's through the FAFSA, right? The free application for federal student aid. And that is part of a three-pronged scholarship that you will receive with an acceptance to the Hartt School. The other elements of that are performing arts scholarship, which is up to full tuition. So that is a range. Starts around $8,000 and again, all the way up to full tuition. Now, full tuition does not include housing. So when you see a full tuition scholarship, yes, get super excited. That is an amazing achievement, and it's an amazing financial boon for you and your family, and congratulations on the amazing work. Just know there are other elements of finance that you'll need to explore to come to the University of Hartford, particularly, like I said, that housing, dining, etc. So something, again, to explore in detail. That need-based aid is based on the FAFSA, and of course the priority deadline for that is I think February 15th, and of course an academic scholarship. So it should be no surprise that the dedicated and very committed and driven students who are performing artists and scholars are also really exceptional academicians, right? They have great grades, and so an element of that scholarship really is about the academic performance. So those three: performing arts scholarship, which is talent-based; need-based, which is through the FAFSA; and an academic scholarship, which is through your GPA, your transcripts. Now, we are a test-optional school, so we'll actually be doing those academic evaluations based on whatever materials you decide to submit. Kind of a neat point here is the University of Hartford awards more than $95 million a year in scholarship and grant, which is wonderful. Hands-on Hartt. So the idea of today is really an open house, right? You know what you signed up for, but it continues at Hartt. We have this whole next week set up a series of sessions that we tailored towards the areas and majors where we get the most questions and that need just sort of that next level of deeper dive and exploration in order to make your application and to feel good about pursuing admission to the Hartt School. So we've set up some disciplines here within music. Now it's primarily instrumental, dance, instrumental and vocal, excuse me. Well, down below is vocal. Dance, you're gonna have your dance performance and pedagogy, and that's with the artistic director of dance, Stephen Peer, who you saw in that video. Wonderful, wonderful, very accessible and supportive faculty. Theater with Tracy Moore, who's our chair of music theater. Music education with Julie Hagan, again, who you saw in that last film, and vocal studies with one of our newest faculty additions, Anthony Tresick King. He is incredible. And if you, if for nothing else, to explore that particular session, he's quite captivating. And the other piece of it is that if you're not in an instrumental performing organization, you're going to be in a choral performing organization. And Dr. Tresick King is the director of choral activities. So you're going to be having first-hand exposure to him every week, certainly upwards of 3 times a week. So definitely worth exploring. It's not just for those vocal performance majors, something certainly to take a peek at. And of course, last but certainly not least, the Jackie McLean Institute of Jazz, which has a very long-standing legacy. And Professor Nat Reeves has been here for a wonderful, wonderful tenure and has some really great things to offer about that program. So definitely sign up for these. You're going to do RSVP very similar to what you did today. And you'll attend one of these sorts of sessions about it and be able to ask questions that are just a little bit deeper than this sort of 30,000-foot overview of what the Hartt School offers. Now's the time for questions. As I said earlier, this is not the only opportunity. So if you think of a question after today, something that didn't come up or didn't come to mind, definitely send it along. Email is probably the best bet right now. We are in a sort of hybrid remote and in-person operation dependent upon the essential nature of the staff. So folks are available. There's always someone in our admission office, also known as our Welcome Center, and they're there to answer your questions. Zip an email, connect with a faculty member, and we absolutely will do what we can to make sure that you have all of the answers that you need in advance. I'm going to stop screen share so that we can engage Dean Smith and Nate here and start answering some of your questions. Hopefully I didn't bore you with too much talking there. All right. So bear with me just a moment while we click over here to some questions. Larry, while I'm gearing up questions, is there anything you want to add after my presentation there?
I wish I could start all over again and go to the Hartt School myself. Actually, it's really, really exciting the way you outlined what we're up to as a school, and I'm looking forward to these questions.
Fantastic. So we have first question here from Henry Friedman that we'll answer live is, I'm planning on pursuing a dual degree or a double major in horn performance and music education. Fantastic, sign you up now. What does this look like at the Hartt School? Is it 2 bachelor's degrees, a bachelor's and a master's? Question mark. You want to take a swing at it?
Sure. Yeah, so what you're really talking about here, because both are bachelor of music degrees, it would be 1 degree with two majors. You'd be fulfilling the requirements of both majors. That's why when you have a performance degree combined with music ed, it generally ends up being a 5-year program. But again, the way it works with a double major is if they both happen to be music degrees, like this happens to be what the suggestion of this combination, a lot of things overlap. And so it gives you the chance to actually complete the requirements for both degrees. The more separate those degrees are, the little bit more difficult it is. But we have plenty of people doing double majors between schools in the university, and as well as, of course, many at Hartt. They're very popular.
Great, thank you so much for that. I'm just clicking send on a quick answer here to another question. Someone had just asked a question about the pre-screen process for music theater actor training, and if it's possible to submit that in advance of an actual application. So 2 little things that I'd like to point out there. Get Accepted, you absolutely can send your pre-screen materials to in advance. The university and Hartt School, where there's no fees ahead of November 1. So zip in that information, just get your application in, get that material uploaded for your pre-screen, and I think that you'll be in good shape. If you have questions, definitely reach out to the admission office about that. Let's see here. Okay, so this is a good one. What's your acceptance rate for the Hartt School? So I'll take a swing at that, only to say we don't have a tally of what the acceptance rate is across the school because it varies so much by major. As an example, we'll receive somewhere in the neighborhood of about 1,100 applications for music theater, and we have 25 spots that we're looking to fill. Right? So you can kind of get a sense of things. Now that would skew the numbers not necessarily in a very favorable way, right? So if you take something like music education, I would say 7 out of 10 applicants, because of the rigor of the program, know what they're getting themselves into, and they're going to likely be accepted, right? It just depends on the year. It depends on the applicant pool entirely. Anything you'd like to add on that one, Larry?
Well, no, I think absolutely true. And in terms of setting goals for how many we want for each instrument, we're frequently asked that question. It's difficult. It's a real balance that goes on, because 1 year may have a certain number of French horn players graduating that is a large number, and the next year may be fewer. So we are always having to balance the overall makeup of the school. And it shifts from year to year. The main thing that we're looking for, and you said this earlier, Noah, was the potential and the promise. If someone displays that they have what it takes to be successful at Hartt, we will make room for them in our programs.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that. I'm going to lump 2 questions together because I think they actually go together nicely. And so forgive me, Tia and Amachi, about this, if you don't mind me combining these 2 questions. And Larry, I'm gonna let you take this one. I have to look up one quick thing so we get a concise answer for someone here. How would you describe the students at the Hartt School, and what is the diversity of student enrollment in the school?
Yeah, well, those are both great questions. So how would I describe the students at the Hartt School? I would say that they are serious and totally committed to what they're doing, because it takes so much to get to the point where you can be accepted to a place like Hartt. In many cases, it means that you've been at it since you were a small child, and you've been working to improve yourself, develop your talents, develop your skills. And so you've learned a kind of work ethic that's really important. So that when you come to the school, yeah, you're going to have fun, you're going to meet people, you're going to enjoy all of that. But you also already understand the seriousness of what you're trying to accomplish. And so that's important. In terms of the Hartt School, in terms of diversity, I think that was the other question. It's really important to us that we have a diverse population of our school, and also a diverse faculty and staff. And we are working very hard to make sure that our school is as diverse as possible. The University of Hartford is on the edge of 3 towns, West Hartford, Bloomfield, and Hartford. And we want to reflect the towns in which we live. And those towns, particularly Hartford and Bloomfield, are diverse towns. And so it's really important that we reflect the community in which we live. And that is our goal.
Thank you, Larry, very much for that answer. There's a couple of music theater questions here. There's so many wonderful questions in this in the lineup. So bear with us as we sort of work through these. There's some really good ones. So within the music theater program, what would you say is emphasized heaviest within the training? Dance, singing, or acting? You want this one, or you want me to take a swing at it?
I would just say yes, but why don't you take your shot at that?
So the program is equally divided across those 3 disciplines. So you're going to have a whole series of really rigorous dance classes. You're going to have a regular private lesson. You're going to have a regular vocal coaching that's going to happen, and you're going to have a curricular acting experience and performance experience that is really going to be pretty equal across all 3 areas of that discipline.
Yeah, and we need you to come out of the program as the so-called triple threat, being able to do all of that equally well.
Yes. Is there a possibility to be a musical theater major and have emphasis on one aspect of the theater, such as dance? So the great thing is that the dance program is literally across the hall from the music theater program, right? It's across the Mass Mutual lobby in our Handel Performing Arts Center, which go on the virtual tour process and check it out. It's a really wonderful, wonderful space. I digress a bit on that front, but to talk a little bit about it, you can take as much dance as you want. You can absolutely, as long as it fits in your schedule, you can audit those classes. You can show up and take them here or there. It's open and available, and Steve and Pierre and the faculty of the dance program they just want, they want folks to be engaged, and they want folks to be involved and to get what they want out of the experience. There isn't necessarily a way of selecting an emphasis, if that makes sense, within acting, dancing, or singing within the music theater program. So I hope, Gwendolyn, that answers the question completely. All right, is it possible to double major in music production and technology as well as music management? So we have a series of 5-year degree programs, 5-year double majors, and unfortunately you can't do music production technology and music management. You can do music management with vocal performance. You can do music management with instrumental performance. You can do music production technology and composition, or music production technology and classical guitar. But the way that the courses work out and the way that the credits and the loads of those majors work out, you can't do MPT and music management combined. I'm just clicking that over here. All right, what are the priorities of the aspects of what you consider in a music theater application in a list of most to least important? You want this one, Larry?
Well, it's just, you know, in a normal year, we would do auditions in New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, and I've actually attended them once, where you have literally hundreds, thousands of people doing auditions, so now with the way that we're doing them this year with the pre-screening, I think it actually will help the student. It'll help the school, but it'll also help the student as we try and figure out which talent, what students we'd like to have at the school. But in terms of you know, what you record is going to be very important then. How you show yourself in those recordings. I don't know if you have thoughts about other things in the application that might be important.
I think from an application standpoint, I mean, all of our faculty are reviewing the materials, really looking, as Larry was just intimating, at the whole artist, right? Really looking at the whole picture. And that includes those academic elements. It includes the service elements and how engaged you are within your, you know, your community. It's really the whole picture. And the folks that we're most interested in, and as Stephen Pierce said, are those that show great excitement and curiosity and a true potential to grow and thrive at our school. There's a couple questions here that we have to do a little bit of legwork on, so bear with us. They're, again, all really, really good questions. All right. There. As a music education major, how much focus is put on your primary instrument?
You know, large focus, whether it's vocal or whether it's instrumental. It's a very heavy workload. You have not only all the education courses, but you have all the work related to your voice or your instrument. So the thing that makes a music education major at Hartt is that it really is focused on the performance. Our teachers can do what they're out there teaching and asking students to do. So it's important in the training that you focus on that.
Awesome. I'm currently trying to earn a position on the softball team. Go Hawks. Yes, absolutely. And however, I know the theater and softball take a great deal of commitment. Can I do both?
That's a great question.
It is a really great question. I think you could probably do both. However, I will say that the theater program is literally the moment you wake up in the morning until probably the time you go to bed at night. I mean, we're talking rigorous daytime classes, your university, what we consider the university interdisciplinary studies or UIS classes, then you have evening rehearsals, right? So it's really rigorous in the theater program, and essentially it is primarily an acting program, and then they are adding the other elements of singing and dancing on top of that. So I would be very cautious about that kind of commitment.
Yeah, because I mean, they literally go till 10:30 at night every night. So you can imagine the difficulty of making it work. So that may be one of the tougher combinations with softball.
Yes. That's good. All right, how much piano do music ed majors need to know prior to applying?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think obviously it helps you. It depends on what your instrument is, if you're a singer or instrumentalist, but any piano skills certainly help. But you would be placed according to your level, and your level might be that you are really a beginner, in which case we would take you from that spot, because you may be doing other things musically, performance-wise, outside of piano. So yeah, it would not be a something that would keep you from being able to come to the school.
Great. Thank you, Larry, for that. When applying to a composition or MP, a music production technology major, is there certain primary instruments that you have to apply with? This particular question is marimba or viola.
Okay, yeah, so I'm a composer, so I can help with this for sure. You know, at Hartt, we actually have classical instruments, we have commercial music instruments, we have jazz instruments, and no one in composition or MPT is going to say that you need to have one specific instrument or another. What you need to come to us with is it's what you've spent your time trying to be accomplished, to develop your skills as much, and let us see what you can do. And that's really the way you should approach it, rather than trying to think that you're coming with an instrument that we are going to you know, want more than another. That's not the case. We want some development, some progress on the instrument that you bring.
Great. Jonathan's asking, is it possible to meet with the different music professors for virtual private lessons or meet and greet before acceptance? Yes, it is absolutely possible to do that, and is strongly encouraged. In fact, I mean, we want each of you as applicants to really get a sense as to what it's like to be in the studio, right? We want you to have everything you need in order to make the best possible decision about, you know, coming to the Hartt School. And so those faculty are there to lead you through an initial lesson. They're there to talk with you about what the studio life is like, and it's definitely encouraged. And the ways to set that up is to just contact our admission office. Again, email is probably the best bet at this point, but that's hartadm@hartford.edu. And you can also get there very easily through our homepage, university homepage, and through the Hartt School homepage.
It's so important, not just for you as the student wanting to find out what this teacher might be like, but also for the teacher to see how quickly you grasp something that they try and show you. I mean, it's really, really important. And, you know, obviously it doesn't hurt if you go into, if you send your audition and the teacher knows you already, has a sense of you, even just from an initial lesson. So it's a very, very good thing for you.
Sorry, getting back here. I was thinking I was on mute there. Let's see, are you able to attend an online music theater class, assuming some are being taught online this year? So all of our faculty are have just been so great about this kind of engagement. There are specific classes that are being taught remotely, and they vary depending upon the faculty member and location, time, all of these sorts of things. So absolutely, we want you to experience that. And the faculty for sure will be very candid about what classes are the best ones to see, just to get a really good broad scope of to what the program actually offers. And it's a really great way truly to kind of see what's happening in the classroom, to be able to actually check out the facility a bit. So absolutely, again, just reach out to our admission office, and we'll put you in touch with the faculty of choice to get that taken care of.
And that would be true across all the program that we have, all of the classes. The situation with the pandemic, of course, means that I mean, we have students from all over the world, and some of them are stranded where they live, and they couldn't get back because of the travel problems. Yeah, we are doing a lot of things remotely. Of course, we are in person. We are having hybrid classes. We're functioning, but I'd say about, at this moment, 1/6 of the school is remote. So there are there would be lots of things you could have a chance of seeing if the faculty member would allow you to.
Great. Thank you for that. We have a question from Henry. Do any Hartt majors require an interview in addition to an audition? And that quick list, I'm just going to run down it briefly here, Henry, and if you have other questions, definitely drop them in here. Those that require interview in addition to audition are actor training, our BA in music with lessons. So we have a BA without lessons and a BA with lessons, composition, dance, music ed, music history, music management, music production and technology, music theater, music theory, and vocal performance. So those are all the majors that require an audition and an interview. Let's see here. Oh, this is a good one, Larry, if you want to handle this. All right, so how would I feel like I'm serving up, random things. This is wonderful. These are all really great questions. How does the music education degree work at the Hartt School? Is it one degree that covers both instrumental and vocal, or two separate degrees?
Okay, yeah. So before we spoke about the prospective student who wanted to do the horn and music ed, that was as a double major. But in fact, music ed as a single major also has a focus on either your instrument or your voice, and it's a 4-year program. So you don't complete all the requirements for your instrument or your voice, but the program itself is so focused on performance that the 4-year music ed degree program will have plenty of lessons, ensembles, all sorts of things like that connected to the major. The other thing I want to say about it is that one of the distinctive things about music ed at Hartt is that from literally the first week in a normal year, but we're hoping next year is a normal year again once we're through this. But even virtually, we've been trying to do this. You are in the classroom and you have a chance to see what it's like to be, teaching. And so you from the very first year, there are various steps along the way where you get a chance to be involved in the classroom. We have, in fact, 2 schools on campus, one in particular, maybe you want to say something about since you have connections to it.
Sure. So the 2 schools that Larry refers to, one is through the Hartford Public School System, and that's the University High School for Science and Engineering. There's definitely cross connectivity there. Those students come to the university to pursue classes, advanced classes for college credit, and in some cases graduate high school with an associate's degree already. So it's pretty amazing what those connection points are there. But the one more important to Hartt, not that the other isn't important, but certainly more important to our curriculum, is the University of Hartford Magnet School, which is part of our Capital Region Education Council. And that particular program is based on Howard Gardner's Multiple Intelligences. And I happen to have 2 kids that go there, by the way. So that's why Larry's saying there's a connection. And it's a wonderful school where our music education students really get firsthand practical experience there. There's an after-school string and instrument program, but also our dance students also get access to some pretty incredible creative movement classes that happen there, again, in the after-school program. So some really wonderful connections, real-time practical work right on our own campus, but there's also great practical work that happens right out of the get-go, I think as Larry was just alluding to with the music ed program. Great. Will the interviews be held over Zoom or on an online platform? So, or another online platform. So yes, they will all be held remotely, and Zoom seems to be the most, sort of the most popular, the most accessible. And those would be set up with Hartt admission actually through the application portal. So once you actually get through the audition portion of it, if it is an audition and an interview, then you would be invited essentially for an interview. And so there is a little bit of an almost pre-screen element to it. All right, what is the difference between audio technology in the engineering school and music production technology?
The University of Hartford has 3 wonderful programs, and they really work together. You already heard about the acoustic program that's very much a part of the music of the music program at Hartt as well. But that's really the science of sound. And the audio engineering, as it's been described to me, is more about the equipment. And the music production and technology is about using the equipment. So we have these 3 things that work very well together, but have very distinct directions for what might be of interest to you. So the science of sound, the actual equipment that's involved in the audio engineering, and then the producers, the people who are actually recording and getting that music down on, for posterity.
That's wonderful. Thank you. That's a really great answer. We do get that one frequently, particularly at our college fairs, and that's a great way to distinguish between them. So I appreciate that. Thank you. All right. So with the Performing Arts Scholarship, we have 2 more questions here that I think we can do live answers for both. And again, these are really great questions. So thank you so much. There's so many here, and they're all wonderful. So with the Performing Arts Scholarship, specifically for instrumentalists, are students who play specific instruments offered more aid than others? For example, oboe, bassoon, or other less traditional instruments?
Yeah. So a little bit ago, I was speaking about trying to balance our needs, and this is a piece of balancing our needs. So in a year that we may have an abundance of something and a shortage of something, we're going to need to make sure that we balance the school. And one way we can do that is through our scholarship awarding. But I'd like to think that that we are rewarding talent regardless, and trying to help make it possible for people to come and be a part of the school.
Very helpful. Regarding music theater, I think this is a follow-up question from an earlier question. Would one have the option to dance every day? And I actually don't know the curriculum well enough and what actually happens on a day-to-day basis. But I imagine, like most sort of athletic engagement, right, you want to stay on it. So I don't know that it's necessarily every day, but it's got to be pretty darn close. And those classes, again, are sort of sequenced out with the dance program that's just up the hall.
Yeah, it's very, very frequent, definitely.
All right, here's a good question that I'll be happy to take a swing at. For most music production technology programs, students have to take a music theory placement exam. Do you have to take one here? And the answer to that is yes. All of our students, when they come into the school, take a placement exam. And if they don't, they're placed out of the, right? They're placed essentially right in TH 110, which is right from the get-go, as I understand it. Yes. So the short answer to that is yes. Do you want to add anything there, Larry?
Well, just that as you say, it's placement. It's not, it wouldn't determine whether or not you would be in the school, but it would help you, it would help to make sure that you get in the place where you would be able to start learning the best.
Great. Awesome. Well, we've officially answered 31 questions. Now there was one question in there about an electrical engineering crossover, doing I think a double major, and that one's going to take a little bit more sort of work. So at any rate, if Jonathan, I think the question came from you. I'm sorry, I don't have it here in front of me at the moment, but if you have specific questions, follow-up questions about that, or if you'd like a little more information, definitely zip us a message so that we can get that taken care of. Would AP theory credit have an effect on a music theater major? Here's one for you.
Yeah, we love that people are so heavily involved in taking AP music theory, but we still make them take our placement test because we want everybody to kind of go through the same thing. So if you've taken it, chances are you'll do really well and place in it, but you'll still be required to take it, take the placement test.
Great. All right, folks. Well, I think that ties up our time. I think 5 o'clock was the final moment here. In closing, Larry, do you want to take this one away?
Well, I just really want to say to everyone that I hope that you'll really look carefully at what the school is all about. I think you're going to be amazed. Again, I'm kind of back to my original comment about innovation. I think you're going to be impressed that we're not just content to do what people have done, you know, for whatever number of years, but we're really trying to change the face of what the performing arts study is all about. And, you know, in this particular moment, isn't it amazing the amount of innovation and thinking that needs to go on in order to make things work? And I think there are going to be some very positive residual effects that will help all of us in the performing arts for having made it through this difficult time. So I look forward to seeing some of these applications and auditions take place.
Yeah, absolutely. And I echo all of that completely, Larry. Thank you so much for your time and for answering so many of the questions here today. Thank you, Nate, so much for your assistance and helping out. And to all of our attendees, again, welcome to the university and the Hartt School. And if you have any questions, please know that we're here to help in any way that we can. Thanks so much, everybody, and good luck. We'll see you all very soon, I hope.